Sean, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Give me your overview of what you hope the summit achieves.
Look, I think 4 years ago when we sort of sat back and thought about what's happening in the whole built environment, there are a number of things that sort of dawned on us. 3 million people every week moving into cities. A global population that is growing significantly. Challenges around how do you accommodate all of that? How do cities cope, both resilience and scarcity? And I think a recognition that actually this is so big that no one can really achieve it on their own. And therefore my hope was that, and I believe we are really delivering this, that we would create a summit where people would want to come together to try and find ways to solve some of the biggest challenges facing society. And I believe that what we're doing here and have done in Washington DC, Shanghai and now in London is to create that environment for people to feel comfortable to share those things.
There are some huge challenges and it really is important to bring together the very best minds to address those.
Absolutely, and I think those challenges are massive. I mean, they're massive in the Western world, which is a lot about how do you update, rejuvenate, cope with expansion in cities, but then very much in the developing world, which is creating those cities. And I think that the big challenge here is that we quickly latch on to some terminology that takes many things back to the physical assets. So we talk about smart cities, cities of the future. But I think the theme that's emerging from this, both in terms of looking at disruption and the future, is how do we create cities that really are going to be the powerhouses of the future of our world? How do we make sure that they're ones where people feel safe in, that we can enhance health, that people will be more economically productive, and I think that the language, in a funny way, of the built environment is shifting more from the physical asset to people.
That's great. It's great to hear. And obviously people are going to want cities they actually want to live in. And that's crucial to what these conversations that are happening here are all about.
They are, and I think it's wonderful because we've seen political leaders, we've seen industry leaders, we've seen futurists, and we've seen technology, power businesses like Tesla, really all saying the similar thing, that actually this is all about understanding people's needs, understanding the experience that they really want, thinking about the future of the planet, from a sort of resource scarcity, a sustainability point of view, and packaging those together and delivering the right solutions that also enhance health, well-being, enables people to move around, that they feel safe, they can bring up children, feel very comfortable. And I think that's changing the language of the built environment. And I'm really proud that actually one of the things I think that we've done in this summit is we are going to change the language of the built environment.
And the RICS are very determined to keep those conversations going throughout the year and indeed until the next summit.
The next summit, yes. And the next summit will be in New York. And we are going to continue all of these conversations, but we're going to have particular emphasis on things like workplace. I mean, we know that. If I go back to my point about the language is changing, the way in which people will work is going to change. New generations coming through will be much more comfortable with using technology, much more comfortable with more maybe adaptive working, and maybe more comfortable with not only working for one employer, wanting greater experience Monday to Friday or Monday to Sunday and working for multiple employers. So I think that the whole concept of the workplace is going to change dramatically, and that will be a big part of our focus again. But I think continuing this theme of people, ensuring that we have the innovation and the thinking to deliver, but making sure also, really importantly, going back to where we began with the whole this, is that you also need to make sure that this is attractive for people to invest in. And therefore, for us, it's making sure that the investment community feel comfortable and they can trust and have confidence in what we're doing and the standards, so that money comes in to make those things happen.
We've talked about the next summit. Tell me a bit about that and what you expect there and what you hope to achieve in New York in a year's time.
Well, New York, I want to make sure that we are really opening this up to a diverse and inclusive audience, that we're bringing in, thinkers from across different professions, again, embracing the technology world, embracing the investment world, embracing political leadership, because it's the sort of melting pot of all of those things that I believe will stimulate the solutions that we really want, so that we live in intelligent cities, not just smart cities. I mean, a smart city which has got lots of bits of technology, absolutely great. I want to live in a city that's intelligent, that's adapting itself to people. And I think that's the theme that we will be taking to New York, which is how do we really get intelligent cities of the future? And how do we make sure that the investment world is comfortable to back that? Because actually all of this is going to be about private and public finance to make these things work.
It sounds like an extremely exciting meeting in Manhattan, so we look
It's
forward
going
to
be brilliant.
the next
You
one
must
too.
come.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.